Well, Matt, Mark, Rob, welcome to the show, man. It's great to visit with you guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
it's great to be on here with you,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having us.
Yeah. So, Matt and Mark, let's get the elephant out of the room. First of all, New Mexico served me up a nice piping hot bowl of elk tag soup. I didn't
Yes.
see that you guys connected on your elk hunt.
Yeah,
Where
let's
were
just
you guys?
we tasted the soup too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a grind, man. It was a early season. The hunt started on the 5th.
Uh-huh.
And so, we kind of went into it with the mentality that it was going to be a grinded out type of hunt, which it was. Unfortunately, I was hoping maybe that would, the elk would prove us wrong, but
Yeah.
they just weren't really vocal. So we had to work hard, man, for opportunities. I think we ended up calling in like 5 bulls into bow range, 2 really good opportunities, and saw 7 bulls. And I'd say 5 of the bulls were, with which the good thing early season like that, I mean, all the bulls that we saw, we didn't see one cow.
Yeah.
And so, 5 of the bulls that we called in were well over 300, and I would say 3 of them were probably in the 350-ish plus
wow.
range. So, yeah.
So yeah, the first one came in. I tried to stop him. He was at about 45 yards. I cowed with my mouth,
Uh-huh.
and touched the arrow off. And as soon as I released him, like, man, that was a terrible shot. Well, we watched the footage back. He was still moving. He ended up taking a couple steps after I released the arrow. And then the second one, oh, he was a giant, dude. I can still see him in my mind. He was a big boy. He popped out of the trees at like 35. So then there's the battle in your mind. It was kind of thick. I didn't have a shot, so when do I draw?
Yeah.
So I drew back as soon as I saw him. He was at 35, and he turned to come through this opening right where I figured he would. It was like the perfect script. It was great. And then he hung up behind a bush, and I'm at full draw waiting him out, and then I'm like, shoot, do I let down or do I wait him out? And so I was gonna wait him out, and he waited longer than me. So I started shaking, and I moved just a little bit. We watched it back, and you see him pick me out.
Oh yeah.
I let my draw down, and then you just hear the arrow just pink, just the slightest little tink on my bow, and then the gig was up. He just turned and slinked off. So, oh
Yeah.
man, it's hard to watch him walk away, dude.
Where were you guys at? What state?
In New Mexico.
Okay, you were, yeah, also in New
Yeah,
Mexico.
we were in New Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was tough though, man. I mean, midday, early September, like it's just hot weather. It's probably 80 to 90 degrees the first, like 4 or 5 days or something like that.
Yeah.
It was hot.
And so, you got like a small window in the morning, and then another real small window in the afternoon. We did try sitting water in the heat of the day, a couple days, and just nothing came in. I did call one bull down to the water hole. We just happened to bump into him. He was on a little bench above the water, and I threw some cows out, and he gave us just a little, one of those deals. So I backed off, and these guys set up, and he came in, but he hung up at like 55. He just wouldn't come out past the I mean, he heard me cow call right near the water hole, and then I dropped back. Typically we like to send the shooter forward from the last call that I make, so that way, so his hang up spot is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so he's gonna walk past the shooter trying to get to the
Right.
call. Yeah.
I think with Mark saying, we were like, what happened? Did he see us? Did he smell us? There was definitely some of our ground scent close, but I think it was like Mark said, he came looking he expected to see some cows at the water, and there weren't. And so I think he kind of stop and scan was far enough back to where he got a peek and was like, something's not right. But
yeah,
he was a good one.
He was a good bull too. Yeah, you'll see him too if you guys watch season 4. We got what did we get? 6 of the 7 bulls that we mess with on film, so that's pretty cool.
We called in a big black bear
big
too.
black bear.
That was day 3 or 4. Yeah.
With cow calls or what?
Yeah,
I was doing this like a breeding secret, just trying to get something to talk, man. Like just doing a lot of calling and moving, calling and moving, and so it was one of those sets. And Matt was out in front, and he's like, "Oh, I think I saw something move down there. It looked like a bear." I'm like, "Oh, it could be, dude." So then we were watching, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I see it. It's a bear." So then I started calf calling, and Braxton he got it on film. Hacks and Hunt, he's a stud. He got it on film, and it was a sick shot.
Big,
so that's
big cool. Bear. Yeah, he was big.
Yeah. I guess I think the 2 bulls I've killed with my bow in New Mexico on public land were both on September 7th.
No kidding.
2015, and then the second one was 2018. And since then, I've wounded 2 in New Mexico. A big 6x6 2 years ago, and I hit him. I don't know, it's a game of inches with a bow, right? I mean,
Oh,
went
absolutely.
in no man's land, and you could see, like, the guy that was calling was like, "Dude, you smoked him," and I was like, "Eh." I could see when he turned and ran, like the arrow was just a little bit higher than I thought. And I've told this on the show before, but he ended up being 32 yards away, and I shot him for 40,
Oh,
No,
and it made all the difference. We never found him. I don't think he died.
right. No,
Right.
if you hit him in that zone, he probably
yeah, it's
survived.
just like you said, it's just a game of inches, and there's just so many variables. I mean, the
Yeah.
wind, any little anything, man. You could be. It's just so hard because you put in so much time and so much effort, and you train so hard for that opportunity, and when it doesn't work out, but man, you learn so much. Like you can't fabricate that. You can watch all the shows and read all the books, but there's no substitute for having a big bull elk in front of you in bow range. You know, you just
Oh,
have
yeah.
to experience it. So
Yeah,
it's-
trying to keep it all together, like keep the adrenaline in check, go through your checklist in your mind. But that's why we love it, man, right? Like that's
So
That's
did
why-
you guys pack in?
we spiked out 3 different
Yeah.
nights. Yeah. I mean, the unit we were hunting, it's not like like over here we backcountry hunt as
Yeah.
much as we can. It wasn't a backcountry unit. There's virtually like no backcountry in the unit.
Yeah.
There's roads. Yeah. I mean, there's roads that we're not supposed to talk about where exactly we were
Sure.
for obvious reasons. But
I was up around Chama, and I have the other places I've hunted in New Mexico. I've done 3 other like drop camps, like you're in 7 miles type
Sure.
deals in the Carson, and this one was the same thing. ATVs everywhere, trucks everywhere. This is my first time hunting like that.
yeah.
I hated it. I did not like it. I don't want to do it again. It took till day 6. Of course, I'm using mapping apps, and I have
Sure.
all these areas marked. I'm like, and my buddy, I think he was a little more hesitant. He hadn't done like the full. I don't think he wanted to walk 3 miles to start hunting, which is
Right.
what it took, right? You're walking in the dark 3 miles. Hey,
Yeah.
those days we didn't see any other hunters, and we saw a lot of elk. I called one into 27 yards, nice 5x5 satellite bull, and he could have taken a frontal shot. I think he wishes he would have. I don't know.
Tough
But
shot on there.
have you shot one in the chest before?
I have not. No.
I've shot one at I think it was 16 yards in the
Frontal
chest,
shot. Yeah.
and he went, I don't know, 40 yards, and it was just a crime scene. How much blood it was incredible. Yeah, but I think 30 yards is maybe pushing the boundary on that. But yeah, they were vocal. We were there 3rd week of September though,
Right.
and responded sometimes to cow calls, sometimes to bugles. But the thing that I think the most frustrating thing of that hunt, and it's, you talk about preparation and training and all that stuff. The one thing you can't control is the wind, and you can play the wind and you can try to get in the position, but like when it swirls and you're in the right spot, and then you feel the wind on the back of your neck, and just like
Frustrating,
no,
man.
that's the worst.
That's how they survive, though, dude. I mean, that's that's how
Yeah.
they survive. They live and die by their nose, man. So, yeah.
oh yeah,
Good for them, anyways. The shifty wind.
yeah. So are you guys all 3 of you from Montana originally?
No, so we Mark and I grew up in the East Coast. We grew up in Rhode Island.
Oh wow.
We actually met Rob out here when we moved. Well, Mark, so it's kind of I want to bore you to death, but we actually took a trip, Mark and I, when we were younger, just to check out Montana. We packed a car and drove across the country. Just a couple of weeks, fell in love with it, moved here. Mark moved here first, and then we met Rob out here in Montana. So,
and Rob, you're from Montana?
I've been here about 35 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. And what is your favorite thing to hunt, Rob?
I'd say elk hunting
Yeah.
would be the absolute, and the next one would be whitetail. They're just they're elusive and they're smart.
Yeah, that's the truth. There's no doubt about that. Trying to kill I think it's easier to kill a bull elk than it is a mature whitetail with the bow, personally. And that's coming from somebody who's like, I'm like, for the last 4 seasons on elk. So
Yeah, elk's the grind, man. I think it's the country that elk live in is so much more challenging.
Yeah.
So I think you have more opportunities, I would say, don't you think, with whitetails, just because they're more plentiful and the country they live in is a lot easier.
My experience hunting like a 170 plus inch whitetail with a bow, has been it's easier to kill an elk. like
I'm
he
talking
knew
tail bucks in general. I've never even seen. Well, I've seen 170-inch bucks, but not many of them. Yeah, they're small. Yeah,
I've had 3 on camera in that I know are over 170. One of them I'm not going to count because we got the place that we were hunting in Oklahoma got sold out from underneath us in the middle of the season, and so it was like it was before rifle season even started. And then the other 2, one of them I never saw in person, and the other one was on a 20-acre place. And you talk about the deer knowing you're on the place every time he walks on there. Like 20 acres is pretty small, and he had it figured out. He had me. He smelled me one time, and then he knew. Like
that's all it takes, dude. Yeah, big buck like that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what is Team Endure? Tell us a little bit about you guys and what you do and what your goal is.
You take that. Sure. Yeah. So we're obviously brothers. So we the reason we're Team Endure from Hunt Wars, for anybody who doesn't know or hasn't seen the show, I hadn't heard about it. Scrolling Facebook on a Saturday morning on the couch, I'm like, what the heck? What's Hunt Wars? So I took a screenshot, sent it to Mark. It's like this hunting competition TV show. I'm like, dude, this sounds like a dream come true, And then of course I'm kind of a stickler. I'm like, ooh, it costs a little bit of money. It's like $100 to put into the drawing. I could sit here now and go, dang, that is the best $100 I ever spent, like without a doubt. But if I didn't get picked, I'd have been like, yeah, see, I told you. But anyway, so we got drawn to be on this show. And you have to pick a team name. And so we're solid believers. We love Jesus, man. That's our whole thing. That's what's most important. That's what's a priority in our lives. And so we were kicking around like, what is our team name going to be? And Hebrews 12, 1-3, the scripture that talks about laying aside every sin and weight that entangles you and running the race with endurance. I'm talking about how Jesus,
how he endured the cross.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's where, that's kind of where like Team Endure was birthed. And I would say our goal, I mean, we're really passionate about hunting, obviously. That's like a huge part of our life. And so is Jesus. He's an even bigger part in our families. So the goal would be just to kind of, I don't know, see where the Lord takes this. I mean, I've always dreamed, and I know Matt has too, about having like some type of a show or some way that we could, put content out and just communicate our passion for the outdoors and our love of the outdoors, and also the hope that we have in Jesus, man. I mean, that's something that we want everyone to know about. And especially now, the way that things are going in the world, I mean, there's so much despair and so much heartache and pain and anxiety. I mean, it's a time like I don't think we've ever seen before, with coming off of COVID and just the state of everything, man. Right? Like, I mean, politically and socially and just with everything that's going on, like so I would think our biggest passion really is to project that hope and to tell people that there is hope, man. There's big time hope, and it's not because of anything that you could do to earn it. It's not because of anything that you've ever done bad. I mean, it's because God loves us, man. He loves us enough that he sent Jesus down to suffer and die for me, for you, man, so that we can be redeemed. And there's a tremendous amount of hope there and joy.
I don't think you ever feel closer to God than when you're standing at 11,000 feet listening to a bugle, right? Like,
you're not
I miss a lot of church because I'm doing that, but I feel like
I think, like the Lord gives us all gifts and talents, and that's part of like our passion. It's like the Lord's given us these interests in hunting, right? In the outdoors and his creation. And like you're saying, like as long as you're a good steward of the gifts that he's given you and you use those with the intention, not for your own pleasure or for your own fulfillment, but to glorify him, because he made this creation. He gave us these animals, and he's given us a body and a mind to use to push our limits. Because it says, when we are weak, then he is strong. It's in our weakness that he is made strong, right? So it's in that moment where you miss that big bull. Like we're fragile human people, man. We're going to screw up every time, but he's not. He's perfect, and he wants to show himself mighty through his creation, and that includes us. So it's like when, we just try to encompass all that and share that passion that we have, just to be good stewards of that,
I think so from a faith standpoint, endure makes sense, but also a lot of backcountry hunting is enduring. like
Dude,
sometimes it's just kicks your butt and it's not fun, and you're beating your head against the wall and everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
Physically and mentally, you're drained, and it can be an all day sit in a tree stand for a whitetail too that can physically and mentally challenge you.
Absolutely.
But I think, a lot of it is enduring, but when it all comes together, oh man.
Yeah,
it's that much sweeter. Like, that's why sometimes it's like, man, you could shoot the buck like right off the side of the road, stalk in 20 yards and shoot him with your bow. But it's like, I'd almost rather take the 10-day, 50-mile grind up and down, miss 2 opportunities, and then, even 50, if it
was 100 miles.
We hiked, I think, 95 miles over the 10 days. It was, but I'd take that one probably more times than I take the easy one. I mean, obviously you like the easy one once in a while, right?
But you know what? It speaks to something else though, man, because I know like all of us sitting up here, probably more so Rob than any of us in life, like have had to endure some pretty deep and serious hardship, man, like in pain. And so there's a big parallel. There's a big parallel there. And like Rob, I'll speak to it. Like I moved out here from Rhode Island. I was raised, me and my brother were both raised Catholic. So now I don't have anything against Catholic people or the religion, but it is a religion. And I never really understood the true gospel, like what I was just kind of communicating earlier. Like it's a free gift, what Jesus did for you. There's nothing you can do to earn it. You can't be good enough. You can't, right? Like
you're never worthy of it.
No, you're never worthy, man. So I met Rob. I moved out here. I was 22. Like Matt said, took a drive out, fell in love. I went home, sold everything, drove back out here, ended up moving in next to Rob with some people while I was living in Simmon. I was a knucklehead on steroids, drinking, fighting, chasing women, all that stuff. And I met Rob. He lived next door to me, and Rob he did concrete. And so I started working for Rob. And Rob's the one that would consistently, tell me about Jesus and how much he loved me. And, it doesn't matter if you screw up, kid, you got to go running back to him. He'll always forgive you. So Rob's witness to me was like huge. Like I love Rob so much, man. I can't tell you. And so fast forward, I worked for Rob. Rob worked for me. Rob ended up moving over to Eastern Montana to do concrete over there during the downturn of like 2008 and 9.
Yeah.
And Rob got me into like Western hunting, like elk. And I mean, I've hunted whitetail in Rhode Island, but so Rob exposed me to all that stuff. Then you fast forward and, Rob ends up getting psoriatic arthritis. And right around the same time, Rob's brother and his dad both came down with cancer. And you lost your brother. No, your dad first, right?
Yeah, I lost John
first.
January 28th, and I lost Dad July 3rd. Both.
Oh, wow.
Cancer.
Yeah, so that was within how many months of each other?
6 months of each other.
So within 6 months of each other, Rob got diagnosed with like severe arthritis, and then both his brother and his father died, man. And so and then Rob, the hunting that he loved to do, he sold all, you tell him, man, he sold all his stuff. I mean,
I went ahead and just, I gave away actually a lot of my reloading stuff. I actually gave away a couple of my big bore rifles. I was a long range shooter. I really like to shoot 700-800 yards and 900 yards and shoot a bucket every time. That was my joy. And I hunted, and it was all about hunting. And, the Lord has a way of just stepping in, and my hunting just left. The arthritis took me to a point where I was curled into a ball, and it would just shake all day long. And they started throwing medications at me, and they just couldn't help. So I actually went to the Lord. I said, Lord, I just pray that you'd help me. Take me from where I'm at, because I can't curl up in this bed anymore. And he gave me a gift. He gave me a gift of prayer. So I'm able to pray, even though I'm in bed and I'm hurting. And that was my hunting. That was my chasing elk. I would meet you, and I would make sure that you were a brother in Christ. I would pray for you if you weren't. And that's how all of this started. And then the boys came to me and they said, Rob, you could still hunt. And I said, oh, I can't hunt, guys. I said, bone marrow transplants in my ankles, both hips are replaced, numerous spinal problems. I said, it's gone. And they're like, no, you can legally hunt from the truck, Rob.
Huh.
So I checked it out. I did some homework. I went to my doctor.
You got all the goodies, man,
Yeah.
for anybody. Hey, and all the haters, man. You can read all the rules. Everything's right here, dude. Like, we got everything. He just went and got his tags today and got a list of all the rules. We could read them too if you want, but anyways,
so that's how I became aware of you guys. Was I saw the viral video of Rob and Matt.
That was Mark.
That was me.
Mark. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
And you see this whitetail just tumbling down the side of a hill, maybe a small mountain. I don't know. You couldn't really tell how big it was. And then you guys were high-fiving, and I mean, Mark told you how much he loved you. And the buck just it slides into the road, like, so no pack out. It's awesome.
Epic, man. Yeah.
And it was so cool. And you could see the passion you guys had for each other, for the Lord, and for hunting. It was super cool. And then you start reading the comments and you're like, whoa, where did all these douchebags come from? What is going on here? Why are so many people upset? Like, you just watched this beautiful moment transpire. And Rob had, like he was talking about, had been out of hunting for some time.
That's the thing, dude. Like, that's what this was all leading up to, right? So Rob gets his hips replaced, his ankles replaced, all this hardship he's been through. Finally, we talk him into going, right? And we tried to make it work a bunch of times and it didn't work out. And we're like, you know what, Rob? It's all right, man. Like, we both knew it. We're like, when we get a chance to go, man, we know the Lord's going to do something awesome. Like, we just know it because it's been such a build up, such a long time coming. Like, and that was the day, dude. Like, that's the day that we got to go. And that morning we drove up, we glassed a bunch of bucks, actually got Rob to go on a little walk to try to get on this nice, it was probably 130-inch buck. Don't you think? Well, I don't even know if he saw him, dude. I was like, I tried to get him on the buck and I'm like, Rob, he's right behind that doe. Do you see him? And he's like, no, I left my glasses in the truck, kid. So anyways, I get the gun all set up. I'm like, Rob, okay, he's gonna come right in that opening. The doe went through, like, he's following her, he's rutting. And so he's on the buck or on the spot. And I'm like, all right, Rob, he's trying to take the safety off and it's my gun. So he's like hitting the freaking bolt release. I'm like, Rob, that's not the safety.
It fell into snow.
Yeah, I'm like, Rob, hold on, I'll take the safety off. So I flip off the safety, and as soon as I flip it up, boom, the gun goes off. I'm like, dude, what the heck? Are you freaking, you have your finger on the trigger, man? He's like, I swear, kid, I wasn't touching it. So anyways, so that happened. Buck runs off, obviously. So we're walking back to the truck and run into this girl and her boyfriend. And I'm as we're walking up, I see a doe like pass them. They didn't see the doe. And I'm like, Rob, look at that. There's a doe. So I said, hey, are you guys hunting? Oh, I mean, I knew they were. I said, you guys want to shoot a doe? And they're like, oh, she's never shot a buck before. And so I said, well, there's a doe right there. And she said, yeah, she doesn't want to shoot it. I said, well, hold on. So we started rattling and I started grunting. And here comes this little 3-point. Comes out like right below her, and I'd be like, oh, there's a buck right there. So we got her set up. Rob was ranging. I took the shooting sticks from her, got the rifle on, and got her all set up. And we're like, as soon, if you're comfortable, go ahead and squeeze off. And so Rob's like, he's 300 yards. So boom, she freaking whacks this buck, dude, right in front of us. Her first buck ever.
Smoked it.
Smoked him. And then me and Rob end up we shared the gospel with her and her boyfriend right there, dude. And then as we're going back to the truck, we're like, wow, that was crazy. Like, that was amazing. That was what this whole day was about. And then I prayed, dude. I kid you not. I'm like, Lord, please just bless Rob with a buck right above the truck on the way out. I'm not kidding, dude. I promise you, that's exactly what happened.
That's why
I was going nuts when I'm like, I started the video because I'm like, there's no way anybody's going to believe like how close this thing was to the truck. And as soon as I started recording, you could hear it if you watch again. I'm like, hey, Rob, what just happened? And then I see it. I'm like, oh, look at this. And then the thing comes like, and look how awesome the Lord is, man. That was like a year ago. The thing, just so you know, I don't know if you've looked, but that video in the last like day and a half or 2 days has gone completely wild again. It's at like 4 million views now almost.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like doubled it right before we come on here. And it's like, look what God can do, man. Like, so you talk about endurance and persevering through difficulty and hardship. And like you said, man, like a lot of times it's like, it's the grind, it's the hardest things that if you stick with it and you don't quit and you keep pushing in are the most rewarding, you know. And you can see, I think that the Lord wants us to be perseverant. He wants that in his people, man, because things aren't going to get easier, you know, they're going to get more difficult here. And you know, real men, I think we're supposed to stand up and meet that call, man. We're not supposed to cower. We're not supposed to quit. You know what I mean? We're supposed to push in.
You think God likes men with testosterone coursing through their veins, or like little latte sipping soy boys? Like which way?
I think I mean, you look at the way they describe Jesus. He was the lion and the lamb, dude. Like just because you sip a latte doesn't mean you're not a man.
But, it just means you're less of a man.
Rob drinks lots of latte. I don't drink
What's a latte?
You can tell by looking at Rob. He's probably one of the manliest men you'll ever meet. He's got hands the size of like watermelons. But no, I think it's multifaceted, and I think it all depends on your heart, man. I mean, what is your motivation? Are you doing it to please yourself or to make yourself look good or strong or tough? Or are you drinking a latte because you want people to know how cool you are? Like, or like, what are you doing it? Like, who's the glory and who's the credit going to in what you're doing? So it says do all things, like, you know, doing all things to the glory of God, as like not working as for God is not for men, like it says in the scripture, you know. So like doing it with that heart, I guess.
Yeah, for me to answer that, I would say he loves us all the same, obviously. But you know, men are like we're called to be men. We're not called to be cowards. And I think especially Christian men. I mean, I think if we're going to get into that a little bit, like I think honestly, the reason that the nation is in the state that it's in is because we as Christian men. I mean, I'm guilty right here. I'm not pointing the finger at anyone else. I mean, I'm including myself, but because we haven't stood firm enough on our beliefs and our faith, man. We're too willing to compromise on what our values are, and you know, we're not willing to stand up and be bold because we don't like you know, we don't like the conflict, or we don't like the that we maybe upset somebody. But you know, I mean, the truth, you can speak the truth in love, but it's still going to offend some people, right? I mean, look at Jesus. He was extremely loving, and they crucified him because when you speak truth and you come with truth, it offends people because, you know, some people like myself, I used to love my sin, man. I remember people coming to me and confronting me about stuff, and I was convicted. And you know what I did? F that guy, man. You can't say that to me. You know, like that was my defense. It's like, I love my sin, and I didn't want to come to the fact that I should be turning from it. So I think men that are compromised, especially, it kind of almost castrates you in the sense of where like it takes your boldness, right? So I think it's Christian men, especially, we're supposed to be bold and stand firm and not be cowards. But you could do that while you're sipping a latte too.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, let's put it this way.
No, I know.
You see all these women that are like, oh, I can't find a man. I can't find a man. Well, that's because you keep dating the one that's sipping the latte instead of the one that's out there working with his hands, you know, going on a backcountry hunt or building something, you know, whatever it is. You know, it doesn't have to be hunting or fishing or whatever. It could be something else that men are designed to be, number one, leaders. In their house, in their community, in their country.
Definitely.
And number two, you're supposed to be active. You're supposed to be doing something. With you know, there's a goal at the end, and it's not sitting in front of a computer all day. It's just not the way that we're wired. But society is degraded to that's kind of like almost the norm now, and it's sad. I think, and I don't know if you guys have experienced it because of your faith and how outspoken you are, if people ever chide you about that, but not faith related. I've lost followers and alienated family and whatever else because I don't care. And it's not so much about faith. It's more about boys are boys, girls are girls.
Sure.
pedophilia is evil,
Yeah.
and and when you say stuff like that, which it's common sense to like, this idea that you can be. I had this argument with my sister-in-law recently, and I was like, and she was like, we had to unfollow your social media stuff, and I was like, oh, that's sad, but okay. It's like they have a cousin who's trans, and I was just like, well, okay, let's put it this way: if I say I'm African American, does that make me African American?
Right.
He's like, well, no. Okay, well, if your cousin says that she's a boy, I'm closer to being African American than she is being a boy.
That's true.
So, but they can't. But that hurts their feelings, right? Because it's the truth, but they don't want to deal with the truth.
It is right there.
Right,
It's truth. And I think a lot of what's going on is because the church, and it does come down, in my view, in my opinion, it does come down to faith, because it's misplaced. It's like a misplaced identity. Like everyone wants to, like we were created in the image and likeness of God. So there's a void in every one of us that can only be met and filled by a relationship that we have in Jesus, and our true identity is found in him. Now, if you don't find it there, and you don't know that or understand that, then look at what the culture teaches you. Like, is it do you think it's a coincidence that, say, even 5 years ago, the trans stuff and all this, it was not even hardly on the map. Maybe you have to go back a little more than that, and then all of a sudden, like, it's just like this huge explosion of
forcing it down your throat every day.
Right.
And we're having to just like succumb to less than 1% of the population and meet their demands. You know what? I'm sorry. That's just not the way that the world works. It hasn't historically.
No.
And as Christians, we get a bad rap because it's hatred, and it's like, no. Think about it. If you think about it this way, right? I look at it as a sickness, right? Like, people are deceived, and they have an issue. Just like, take alcoholism, for example, right? How many people do you know are going to celebrate an alcoholic for drinking a 12-pack? Nobody. But they're telling these people that your beliefs are right and follow your heart, and this is who you are. So there's no help for these people. They're just saying, and then when they question it and they doubt it, then they feel crazy, because they're like, well, everyone's saying this is what's right, and there's no resources. Like,
it's a form of abuse.
Really, it is. It really
especially
is.
On the kids, man. It's just not okay. It's sad, dude. It really is sad.
But like,
if you weren't a pedophile, and I'm not going to say that all, I'm going to take that back. Strippers. I don't see strippers wearing lingerie and insisting upon reading books to elementary school kids. So why is like the trans community like? And I don't. This show isn't about bashing the trans community, but it is weird to me that, like, if a stripper was to do that and say, I need to wear a G-string and some nipple tassels and read books to children, would people say, yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea?
Oh, I think so. I would hope not.
Right, of course. But because it's a trans thing, like, I don't understand it. It's just,
like Mark said, the way we believe, it's just a misplaced hope. And the way we view, we're not saying we're better than anybody.
No, because we're not, dude. It's sin.
It's the big, at the end of the day, it's like,
we all sin every day. I know I do.
Yeah, right. Just love other people, man. That's all we're trying to do. It says in the Bible, like, to love the sinner, not the sin. We can love people for who they are and who God's created them to be, not for what they do. Because you could sit there and take a list a mile long of all the things that I do wrong, and you know what I mean?
We'd be in trouble.
And so I think that's the biggest thing, is love and care and concern for people. And that doesn't always mean you do what they want and you cater to them. Like, that's where people get it wrong, right? Like the Lattes, like, you got to be firm. Sometimes telling my kids no is what's best for him. He wants to touch the stove. Am I loving if I let him touch the stove? No. People would say, nuts. That's abuse, right? So it may not be what people want to hear, but it may be the loving thing to do,
Yeah. Or you're just the same thing to do, but people, like I said, they can't deal with the truth.
Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to hunting.
Yes, sir.
What is next on the team indoor schedule as far as this fall?
Oh man, we've been grinding, dude. I just got back. I went out yesterday. I love chasing elk. That's my favorite thing to do, is chase elk with my bow. And I'm in the middle of it, dude. Like, New Mexico was tough. It's been a grind for me here in Montana too. I went out with my buddy on the horses on Friday and got into a couple bulls. They were they were clamming up and moving off. You could tell they've been messed with. And I got a couple bulls going last night and made a move on them and just misjudged where they were, ran out of daylight. I think I'm going out Wednesday. So yeah, just keeping with the elk, man. I would love to stick a bull with my bow. We got 2 weeks left. Season closes the weekend after this coming. So I think
doesn't your season though can't you still hunt with a rifle after that?
Yeah, we can,
Yeah,
but I just much
that.
prefer to shoot one with my bow. You know?
Yeah, I took Mark's son, Lorenzo, he's 14. We had archery and antelope tags, so we chased a few bucks, got on a couple. Man, it's so wide open where we were at though. We made a couple stalks, but yeah, we got busted a couple times.
I've never tried to hunt pronghorn with a bow. I've shot a couple with a rifle, but
I think, in my opinion, I haven't done it a ton, but sit in water in the early season when it's hot, I think that's probably your best bet, unless you have some contoured land to work with. Obviously, decoying them in if the circumstances and the terrain is right, it's probably your best bet, I guess. But anyway, it was a struggle. But ducks, our waterfowl season opened yesterday too, so we shot some ducks. So we're kind of into everything, man. We love bow hunting the most, and then we just take them as they come. It's like season on top of season, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whitetails, dude. That's like my second favorite thing to do. Is we got some grasslands that we'll spot and stalk whitetails during the rut. That's a blast, dude. It's challenging, but it's super fun. So yeah, hopefully we get some of that action on video and keep putting out some content that
Before
people
we get
enjoy.
too far and forget too.
Yeah, there he is, dude. There he is right there.
This is
From the
the
video.
Oh yeah. That's awesome. How cool is
Chris
that?
beetled it up for me. It looks really nice.
Yeah, that is incredible.
You had to join us on the show today.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have him. Glad to have you, Rob. Yeah, I love duck hunting too. That's how I really fell in love with hunting, and then it kind of evolved into all the big game stuff. Yeah, our duck season doesn't open until I think it's like November 5th this year.
Okay.
First weekend of November. Yep. So what would you say has been the highlight of your hunting careers?
Wow, dude. I would say, I don't know, man. My brother's bull, like if you haven't seen it, we made a reel of it on our Instagram page, but my brother's bull was a big one. For this is just me, I just kind of took that real quick, and then Rob's buck was definitely really high up there.
Yeah.
What other ones would I say, dude? I don't know. A few of my bulls have been. One particular bull of mine that I shot with my bow, I was with my buddy Dom. That was an epic one. It's so hard to pick one, man. I mean,
I know. It
just seems like every time there, my brother, dude, we freaking spot and stalked a whitetail in the grasslands. I was running the decoy and the rangefinder, and Maddie shot, dude. Like, there's a handful of just like epic hunts. So yeah, I don't know. Just when you think like the Lord could never outdo one of the last ones, like something else wild happened. So honestly, I'm just looking forward to the next sick thing that goes down. I fully expect it's going to happen any day. Like every day I go out, I'm like, this is the day, man. Like something wild. You guys, what's your most memorable favorite hunting?
Lion hunt.
Yeah.
The most, yeah. 150-pound Tom with my dogs, a lot of work, 7-day-old track. And then I freshened it up. And when I freshened it up on a cow elk, and the lion was sitting on it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
and then from that, we ran from there over to a moose, and then from the moose to a 6-point bull. And the cat had killed all 3 of them. And I had treed the cat and harvested it. And that was probably my all-time greatest, funnest.
So you're a houndsman too, or were at some point?
No, I did houndsman for years.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stay married, so I got rid of the hounds.
Yeah, houndsmen are a special breed of people, and I have much respect for them. We do. If y'all have you guys hunted in Texas? You should come down here and do a hog dogging trip where you dispatch it with a Bowie knife. That's pretty priceless.
Dude,
stick it.
That'd be
Big
so
stick
cool.
it.
Yeah, like a nice 250-pound boar. Yeah, that's
The closest was a pig wrestling at the county fair.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's a little bit different, but
the first pig that I ever stuck, the pit bull's got him by the face, and then someone else has his back legs, and then they're like, "Here's the Bowie knife," and you stick it in there, and dude, I mean, it was like literally like I got baptized. This geyser of just blood spray just went all over me. And they're like, those things carry brucellosis and trichinosis, so you try not to make sure you don't swallow any of that stuff. Okay?
That's wild. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I one of my favorites, Rob, I did get a mountain lion in Colorado with the.
I saw that picture on your page, dude.
It's
That's
a
a
nice
nice looking cat.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Ate that thing. It was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was the best thing I ever ate, but certainly edible, and fed it to a bunch of people, and they were like, it's not bad. So I cooked, I ate the heart first of all.
Oh, nice.
Cause I wanted to have the heart of a lion. And then I smoked a couple of the shoulders, and then I did like the rest, I think, in the crock pot.
Nice.
Yeah. Made some sliders with them. And what about you, Matt?
Yeah, I'd say my bull with my bow. He's on the wall over here. Yeah, just I mean, Mark and I have made so many hunting memories together. And Rob, I mean,
oh dude,
he'd just come drag us out of bed, man. We had this little single wide trailer, dude. He'd come in, we'd be just passed out. He'd climb in and come on, boys. He'd turn on the lights, rip the covers off. We're going hunting, Oh gosh, yeah. There's so many cool trips, but I'd say probably the highlight would be that bull, my first bull elk with a bow. I had hunted for like endurance, right? 14 years since I moved out here, hunting with the bow. So many encounters, full draw, just not the right angle, passing up the shot, all that, and it just all came together. It was another one of those epic hunts, man.
It was wild, dude.
And the gospel was involved. We ended up at the top of this mountain. These dudes with this 20-foot camper.
No, it was like 32 feet, dude. I think it was 30 something feet.
Up this like
RV,
track.
It was an RV, not a camper.
Yeah, like up this road, like nobody should be on. Like I don't even know how they got up there. And so we end up at the camper hanging out, talking hunting, and then share the gospel. We're on our way out, checking the same spot. We bugled at 2 or 3 times on the way in. A bull answers. 5 minutes later, he's dead on the ground. I mean, it was just
bull too. What did he net? Like 317, I think.
Yeah, or 320.
Yeah, 320 bull. Yeah, good.
Anyway, so that's it. And then my buck with my bow, and then Mark and I doubled up. He had his son on his back at 3 years old. He's got his kid in his pack, 3 years old. I got the rifles. We're out antelope hunting, and we spotted this herd down below, working this fence line. And so we started kind of coming up over the top, thinking they'd be in the bottom. Well, they were coming up as we were going down, and then all of a sudden the heads are popping up, and so we both laid down. I handed Mark his rifle. We counted to 3, and we both shot bucks with his son on his back at 3 years old.
Yours right here. I'll get that.
Yeah, he's
right there.
He's got my buck.
That was Matt. That's one Matt shot right then. Yeah.
Oh, that's a
good buck, dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, tons
it's
of.
Funny. So do you guys both have kids too?
We do. Yeah, I have 3. My son, oldest is 12, and then my daughter's 9, and our youngest is 6.
Yeah. That's a fun time in life where things kind of change from it's all about me filling my tags to I would get much more joy out of my son's killed 2 bucks now. And I don't know what the law is in Montana. I know a lot of states like can't hunt till you're 12 or something. Texas, you can just hunt whenever. There's no
awesome, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah. That is cool.
So he's 10. He shot his first one when he was 8, and then he shot one last year.
Sweet. That's way cool.
That's awesome.
And now I have twin girls, and they are chomping at the bit to shoot. They just want to shoot a doe this fall. So
sweet. How old are your girls?
Awesome.
They're 8. Yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
That is cool. I think it's 10 here, isn't it? With an adult.
Yeah, they did like a mentor program. So you have 2 years before you have to take your hunter safety, starting at the age of 10, and then once you've used, and you could use that at any age too, actually. It starts at 10, but like even if you're 20,
it's cool. It's called the apprentice program, because I was trying to get my son signed up. So he was 10 and or 11, and they're like, oh yeah, like, because I was talking to my wife or something, she can hunt. Like, anybody at any age can hunt for 2 years under the apprentice program. You have to be with a licensed hunter.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And they can try it out until they have to take the hunter safety. I didn't know about it, and I was like, dude, that's awesome.
I have 3 kids also. My daughter's 15, my oldest son's 14, and then my youngest is 12. So
right on.
That sweet spot, man. Yeah, we're planning a trip. The youth hunt's like the 18th and 19th, I think. So we're all gonna go, and they get 2 days before general season. So we're all gonna go and try to smack some bucks. Yeah, that'll be a good time.
That's awesome. So two questions I think I have 2 questions left for you.
Sure.
The first one, Ryan Bussey. This dude is running for governor of your state. I don't know how much you know about him. Y'all haven't paid any attention to that?
No, not lately, man. No.
The-
We've been
Busy
getting,
hunting.
Yeah. Well, he's
You know, honestly, what is-
anti-gun, like
Okay.
far like democratic socialist that happens to live in a $2 million mansion. He's the one that worked for Kimber Firearms for like 20 years and then wrote that book Gunfight, which said that the firearm industry radicalized America, and there's no bigger threat to democracy than the NRA and yada yada yada. So anyway, now you guys know about your own
Yeah, right.
your own
Dude, it's just
gubernatorial
it's been
candidate.
turning that direction in our state for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
since COVID mostly, and then Yellowstone. I mean, that gave like a ton of exposure. That was filmed. A lot of that stuff, that show was filmed in the Bitterroot Valley, which is where we live.
Mhm.
And so we've seen a major influx from people moving out of very liberal states. And again, I don't have anything against liberal
Right.
people. I strongly disagree with their policy.
Well, why did you leave,
Why did-
leftist?
yeah, well, yeah,
why did
that's-
you leave?
I honestly though, dude, I don't know if they understand like the reason that they hate where they're leaving is because of the policies of the people that they voted in. I don't think they
Right.
put that together, because if they did, why would it just doesn't make sense that they would
Right,
continue to
yeah.
do that, right?
Right.
Um,
They can't help themselves.
I
Yeah,
guess.
and I think they come from a place like ultimately like, well, it makes me feel good to do this, and it's
I think
compassionate.
so.
but-
I think it comes from. Yeah. I know some people that are like that, and it seems to me that just like you said, they think that what they're doing is good and right, but they just there's like a disconnect. It's like
It's enabling. I'm trying to tell you the truth. You're enabling.
right. That's what it
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly
Yeah.
what it is. So that's
Oh.
frustrating to hear that. I mean, hopefully the dude doesn't get in, but it
Yeah.
seems like it's getting more and more like
Yeah,
California. I mean, a lot of the people that I'm a concrete contractor. I pour flat work. So I work for a lot of these people that are moving out of these areas that come in with like tons of money. I'm thankful for them. And most of
Yeah.
the ones that I've talked to and met are really good people. Like they're like, yeah, we just had to get the heck out of there because it's freaking crazy. Like it's
Yeah.
nuts.
My neighbors are, they're in their early 50s. They just moved here 2 years ago, and they have teenage boys, and they moved from Chicago, and they're like, dude, we had to get the heck out of it. We couldn't raise our kids in Chicago anymore. It was just,
Don't blame them,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Yeah, that's
So,
bad.
but unfortunately, like what ends up happening is it kind of switches the demographic, I think. And then like in California and some of these other areas, like a lot of the people that have moved here from say Northern California, they're like, yeah, we just left because our voice, like the cities determine everything for the whole state.
Mhm.
Their voice
It's
doesn't
true.
even matter. So they just get the heck out of there. So
Yeah. which is Colorado. I don't know if y'all saw that, but you saw that post, so maybe you're aware. They're trying to get the wheels in motion to ban mountain lion hunting, which was the point of that post that I made. Yeah, and so 2 years ago they passed the ballot initiative to reintroduce wolves, which is a terrible deal because it's like a
Yeah, here,
blueprint
man.
of
Yeah.
it's terrible.
but what you said about big urban areas, so Boulder and Denver essentially it barely passed, but 51% of the population, which why we're letting the population vote on this instead of letting trained wildlife biologists who said it's a terrible idea have the
Right.
final say, but that's what they did. And if they get 125,000 signatures on this petition, then they can put this, they call it a trophy ban. They can put this on the ballot for this coming November, and they will ban cougar hunting in Colorado.
Sure.
I mean,
Wow.
I think
If
it's
it
going
gets
to
on a
happen.
ballot, you might as well kiss it goodbye because they'll vote it in. Yeah.
Okay, the last thing I had for you is bucket list hunt for all three of you. I'd like to kill a leopard personally. That's like number one on
That'd
mine.
be sick, dude.
Yeah.
That would.
Yeah.
You guys want to go? I'll go last. I've been talking too much.
Oh man, dude, that's a loaded one, man. You think like that would be right in the top of my mind, huh? Like I would be like waiting for it.
Well, I'd also throw sheep in there, but that's like okay.
I mean,
I have to. There goes my kid's college tuition if I
wasn't
went sheep hunting.
if I wasn't like a weenie and if I had a diaper on, maybe like an Alaskan brown bear with a bow, like a big one, you know, like I could
Yeah.
see, you watch those videos, they're on like the edge of these river banks and these bears are like 10 yards from them, you know.
Uh-huh.
I guess that just the adrenaline rush that would be kind of sweet. Like I said, I don't know if I'd be man enough to actually do it, but I guess yeah, it'd be pretty sick, man. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be mine.
Yeah.
Bow.
So Rob will
With a
be
bow.
holding the rifle, I guess, and I'll shoot first, and then if he doesn't go down, Rob can finish him off.
I
don't
would
know if
say
I'm
like
gonna shot.
I don't know, man. What is it like? One of those trophy units in Arizona or even New Mexico, like one of the premier elk.
Like
I
the
just
Gila.
love,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love elk, dude. I just freaking love elk. I love calling elk. I've competed. I plan on continuing. I competed in the worlds a couple times in the men's division. I competed in Missoula in the pro division this year. I got third. There was only like 6 dudes, but I think most of them competed in the worlds at pro. So
Yeah.
I just love elk, man. That's like my number one passion is bow hunting elk. So yeah, anybody
That's
anybody
awesome.
for a
Yeah, I
call,
could get I need to take a few tips from you on the bugling. I can work a diaphragm pretty good for cow calls. I don't say I can get the elk to talk to me, right? And
Sure.
occasionally call them in.
Yeah, heck,
But like chuckling and stuff like that, you know, I think most dudes can make a bugle, but when you try to get the realistic chuckles and all those other noises that fired up bulls make,
right.
those are exciting, right? And I just try
Yeah.
to do whatever they do, and when they fire off, try to cut them off and mimic what they're doing. But sometimes it's kind of hard, and you make a wrong note, and you're like, oh, you shut up.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I don't know. It's more critical when human ears are listening, and when the elk are listening, man. There's a lot more grace there, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun, dude. It's just fun talking to them. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
Fun.
Do you like to turkey hunt? I mean, that's the same reason I love turkey hunting is talking to
Yeah,
them.
you know, I've never really we try turkey hunting here, but dude, it's tough, man. Like the majority of the turkeys are on private ground here in the valley. Like there's not like big flats or big areas that you can just go freely access. I'm not a very experienced turkey hunter, so maybe what I'm saying is complete BS. But I mean, that's what I've found. Like it seems like the majority of the turkeys are on private, and so yeah, I think I would love to go to a state like Tennessee or
Texas.
Texas.
We
Yeah,
have lots of dumb Rios here. Yeah.
that's perfect. Yeah.
I still feel kind of like we got back from the bucket list hunt, man. I wish the elk were a little more cranked up, but that New Mexico elk hunt, man, that was
sweet.
Those are some giant bulls.
Yeah, there's
giant bulls over there.
They just weren't really talking, dude. It's challenging when that's happening, you know.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Well, where can folks find you guys?
Yeah, on Instagram we're team2_endure, and then Facebook, we have our Facebook page, Team Endure. On there, yeah, we're hoping to. My wife's got a radio TV degree, so she makes us look pretty cool with the social media. So we're hoping to learn how to. I help her film weddings and stuff, so I'm getting there. But yeah, we're hoping to get behind the camera a little bit. Start film some hunts.
Just keep growing, man. We love it, dude. If we could find a niche and make a way in the industry, that'd be just amazing. I've always dreamt of that, and I know Matt has too.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool.
Like
dude.
we said, you know, our desire ultimately, first and foremost, is just to glorify God, and He's already given us platforms to be used, and our heart's desire is to glorify Him. And so as long as far as He wants to take that, whatever He wants to do, that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to grind it out and try to be men of God, bold, and not sit on the couch and let it come to us, man. We're hungry guys who love to get out and get after it. So
be bold. I think that's a great way to close it out.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. It's been an honor.
Let me tell my story.
Absolutely, Rob. It's great having you guys on. And I'll look forward to following along and see what the what plays out for this season.
And when you're ready to come to Montana, man,
give us a call. You got a caller, a couple callers right here.
Right on.
Yeah, that's right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I have to make that happen.
Yeah, you should.
Sounds good, man.
All right, guys. Take care. God bless you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, you too, man. God bless.
Bye.